Hello, everyone. Welcome to Awfully Silly. We are going to be doing some silly shows today. So we're going to be doing some very fun speedruns based off of TV shows. But before we get into it, my name is Conception. Of course, I'm going to be your host for the show, as I have been for the other Awfully Silly shows. Before we get into it, we want to go over just a few announcements and make sure that you know everything that's going on in GDQ land. So first, we have Frost Fatales coming up. It is going to be February 27th through March 5th, so it's right around the corner. And you can type !FF in the chat, or you can go to gamesdonequick.com/framefatale for more information, including the schedule and things like that. It's an excellent schedule. You'll definitely want to tune in. If you happen to be watching on YouTube, go on over to twitch.tv/gamesdonequick if you're interested in looking at our live content, starting most weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern and weekends at 1 p.m. Eastern. Your subs and bits over here at Twitch help support the weekly Hotfix content, so please consider supporting our daily content and by subscribing and cheering. We really appreciate it. If you have any ideas for your own show or one-off events that you would like to see here as a part of the GDQ Hotfix, feel free to go on over to gamesdonequick.com/hotfix to submit your ideas. Finally, you could stay tuned after this for That's Never Happened Before, which is a show where guests come on and explain how glitches and tricks work in their speedruns. Tomorrow, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, is a very special episode of The First Step with our friends from the Monterey Bay Aquarium. That's going to be, I'm really, really excited for that. You can find the full announcement over on our Twitter page, which is twitter.com/gamesdonequick. With that being said, I think it's time we dive into the television and get our silly shows on. First up, we have Family Guy Back to the Multiverse being run by Mifa. So Mifa, go ahead and take it away.
All right, thank you. Welcome to Family Guy. I suppose there's no point in long introductions. I'll just probably get into it. So time will start as I reset the level. Oh yeah, just a quick heads up for those in chat. This is Family Guy. Some of the jokes may be a bit here and there, so you know. Anyway, so we'll get started in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
All right, so we're going to do a bunch of things in the first level. It's going to take me several minutes to explain. So first of all, we'll skip the first objective by doing a jump, followed immediately by swapping characters. That allows us to get a little bit of extra height on the jump, so we can escape the first area. When I'm running off ledges like this, I'll do a melee, so get a small speed boost going forwards. It saves like half a second each time. Alright, so I'll explain what I did there in a minute. But we're going to skip the entire level here by... we're going to jump... can I do a strafe jump onto this wooden board? It's a little bit finicky to land on. Cool. Alright, so this... Oh, there we go. So this gives us the last objective of the game. Well, of the level. And then puts us right to the boss. Okay, so what I did there to skip the cutscenes is I did something called pause menu storage. So the game has a weapon wheel, which you can see here, which lets you kind of fast swap between weapons. But it also pauses the game environment around you. So it's kind of like pausing the game in a way. Boss. Yeah. So if you press the weapon wheel button and the pause game button on the same frame like this, and then press the weapon wheel button again, it lets you walk around whilst having the main menu open. And then if you reset level whilst if you reset level whilst in an unskippable cutscene in New Game, which we are running, then you can skip the cutscene. Well, not for all of them, but for like select few, like this one. So we go into it, we reset level, we go back into the cutscene. Because the game thinks we're trying to play New Game Plus, it thinks we've already seen the cutscene, let's just skip it. We do a quick jump over there to skip over a small cutscene trigger. Alright. So with this being a new game, we have no unlocks. We have to watch most cutscenes. So it's going to be important for us to collect money throughout the route, because there's a couple of guns and things we're going to need. Do this tricky pause menu storage skip. Cool. So we're going to see kind of a big application of pause menu storage here. Is, for some reason, this cutscene ahead of us where the portal is, when we skip this one, it's going to try and put us, we think, between the halfway point between the origin of the level, or like the main spawn point, and where this cutscene is. And so it just puts us out of bounds, kind of like roughly in between the two. So we can just kind of walk straight past an objective. We're going to hit the save point, and then we're going to board in our second player. Okay. So we're going to do some two-player movement here. There's an area coming up in the quarry where you have to go down to the bottom, turn a bunch of things to activate bridges, and come all the way back up. But we're going to do both walking across the bridges and turning the bridges at the same time by having Brian go down and activate them while Stu walks across the top. Okay. Sorry, I gotta concentrate for a second.
Something we can do to take the place down. So the Amish just look the same every day as they.
Alright, cool.
Yeah, I think so.
So we set the second player down at the bottom, so we can activate the crank. We're gonna drop him out. There we go. We're gonna get pause menu storage. Let's give that cutscene. Cool. Alright, so two-player movement can be a little bit tricky, especially because enemies deal more damage in two-player, and we have no health upgrades, which will become an important piece of information later. Alright, so we're just gonna make a walk to the boss now. Get a quick melee boost. Yeah, as I mentioned, we're playing on a new game, so we have no health upgrades, no ammo amount upgrades. We got no of the guns unlocked.
Now you must go.
Oh yeah.
Jumping whilst so the reason I jump whilst I sprint is because there's kind of like a limit on how much you can sprint.
You gotta be freaking kidding me.
And so jumping kind of resets that limit. So I'll jump kind of like every few seconds. So because when you run out of sprint, you kind of get a panting, out of breath, and you walk slower. So I need to make sure I jump occasionally, otherwise I will run out of breath. Alright, so we're gonna try and get past this bit a little early. Okay. So this boss is a little bit annoying on New Game, because we're meant to come through this area early, but we skipped over it. And so there are enemies in here that we were meant to have fought earlier. And so you can die kind of a bit easily. Come on. Oh. Oh, this is unlucky. Alright, I got the hit. Alright, yes, this boss just gotta shoot both eyes and then the guy inside. Cool.
Gotta love that GDQ luck.
Oh, I gotta love it. So we're gonna quickly make a stop here. We're gonna buy this item, which will be useful. Well, we definitely need it for this level. Okay, so here we have a cutscene we can't skip. We just have to sit here and watch this. Ah, good old Family Guy jokes. I swear, it's the longest cutscene we can't skip. We just have to sit here. Alright, cool. So here we can optionally go around the other way and skip getting this weapon.
Is that part of your stand-up act?
But the weapon is too good to, like, pass up. I was meant to pause menu storage there, doesn't matter. Yeah, so the shotgun is, like, way too good for this level. It's like by far Brian's like most kind of like all-rounded best gun. It's got a good, decent rate of fire. Deals good damage. It's a shotgun. What do you expect? It's meant to be good. Okay, so we gotta sit through another 2 cutscenes because, you know, not all levels in this game are built equal with pause menu storage skips.
My God, that is hilarious.
Cool. So I'm actually gonna quickly swap back to my sniper here. Okay, so so we would do something here called rapid fire abuse. So some weapons like the sniper rifle have a low rate of fire, but if you fire it and then swap back to it by pressing its assigned number key, so in this case 3 for the sniper, you can shoot them a lot faster than you meant to. Come on. Up until you run out of ammo. Ooh. Yeah, so these enemies in here, oh no. Yeah, so these enemies can these enemies can charge into you and knock you over, and you can get into a point where they just chain you in a row and you can't get up. So, you know, a bit unlucky, but it's fine. Okay, so that's an important thing that's going to come up specifically in the next level, is when we have to like use something, get like that blue turning wheel. If you take damage whilst you're turning the wheel, it stops all progress and you have to restart it. So we're going to be doing some ways, especially in the next level, to kind of circumvent that. Alright, so we're looking, we can skip these cutscenes. We're going to drop in Stewie and kind of just leave him in this corner and hope he doesn't die. Hope. It kind of depends on the enemy's AI. Sometimes they'll kill him, sometimes they won't. So here we're going to skip killing this second guard, get his codes, don't test the door. So we're going to activate these 2 fire alarms. We're going to put this down so enemies don't hit us, it distracts enemies. We're going to take Stewie. We'll place Brian in front of the door, activate the fire alarm for Stewie. And see, the door opens in the cutscene, and we can run through the door before it recloses with skipping the cutscene. And so we can just walk straight through the door without having to fight the enemies. That's the only one you can do that. Well, you can do it with the first one, but it's slow. But the second one is well worth it. Because that particular enemy's a bit annoying. It's got more health than the first one. We can't do it with the third one, unfortunately, because the guard spawns out of not the main door that you need to go through. So unfortunately, we'll have to do this one normally. I'm going to make a habit of trying to kill more enemies than usual, especially for a new game run. Because of course in New Game Plus, we have everything unlocked, doesn't really matter. We kind of try and avoid killing as much as possible. Okay, so Brian's BA here kind of gives him increased fire rate and attack damage. And so we can kill enemies pretty fast for whilst having it on. We kill a couple of enemies so I don't get wrecked. Cool. Pause menu storage. Okay. So we're going to try and go for a 1 cycle on this boss.
I'm not one to advocate violence or nothing, but maybe you should jump up on them big guns.
Okay, so these guns usually take quite a while to reload between shots. But it turns out it's faster to repair the guns than it is to wait for them to reload. And so this boss is meant to walk back and forth across the arena. But we're just gonna keep him stun locked in the middle while waiting for the guns to reload. By repairing the guns, sorry. And that's that. Cool. Okay, we've got just enough money. Yeah, so we need at least 2,000 by the end of this level. So when we go into weapons, we're going to pick up the rocket launcher. It could be very useful for this next coming level. Cool. So we're going to do another pause menu storage. So this tends to be the level that most new runners tend to struggle with the most. It's all about that mechanic I talked about briefly, where you can only activate things whilst not taking damage. And that's kind of like the whole premise of this level, is dealing with that concept. So there's going to be instances where we have to deactivate these 4 radio tanks. The middle 2 have far too many enemies around them for us to do anything. So we're going to use these wacky inflatable arm flailing tube men to distract enemies whilst to do it.
Okay, see what we learned here? Evil Stewie activates a tank.
So
we have to reprogram it to destroy itself.
Alright.
You better reprogram all them.
So we're gonna break this one just because that one's kind of annoying. And then for this first one, we're just kind of gonna risk it. Cool. So you can just about get there fast enough before enough enemies spawn in.
Oh no, that was my favorite tank. His name was.
Cool. We'll destroy a couple of enemy spawn points. Just so they don't spawn as much in the middle or become important for the boss later. So here we're going to use our wacky inflatable arm flailing tube man. So we can safely deal with this one. Cool.
Self-destruct sequences.
And then we're just going to go hide in between. Because, wow, there are a lot of enemies in this place. Yeah, so we're going to use another tube man on this one. Because there are a lot of enemies back there.
Perhaps it was the knife we should have avoided.
Oh yeah, so one thing you'll also see me doing when I'm activating these things is I'll constantly swap between characters.
Sending you a build for this.
That kind of just like lowers your, makes your hitbox a little bit smaller. So. Alright, this last one is again, we can kind of just rush it whilst killing like a couple of enemies near it. Take out the 2 tanks, shoot that guy in the face, and then we can just wait. Cool.
You should try to find the little Kit Kat figurines evil Mayor West is scattered around.
I'm gonna kill some enemies here for some extra money, and also grab this pile of cash. Cool.
All right, you asked for it. Wait, you didn't ask for anything.
So yeah, this game is a little bit broken. We'll see that, especially the next 2 levels. And that's maybe a little bit attributed to who made the game. Is if anybody's familiar with SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom, the same devs, Heavy Iron, made this game too. So it has that Heavy Iron stamp of quality on it.
Get down here, West.
Well, depending on who you ask, of what you call quality.
Here's that bastard Evil Stewie.
Alright, so here, we can't one-cycle Evil Stewie in New Game, because we just physically can't deal enough damage at once. So we're going to use this time in between phases to kill some enemies for some money, pick up money on the floor, just so we have a better chance of buying things down the line, especially since I've taken 2 deaths, and you lose money when you die, so I need a little bit of extra money. Alright, so although we can one cycle evil Mayor West here.
All men are created evil.
So we're gonna activate Stewie's special ability here, this soda, which gives us increased fire rate and infinite ammo. We're gonna fire 5 bombs at the mayor and blow them up. Cool. Alright, so this upcoming level is a bit difficult. I think I might need to practice a little bit before we do it. Hang on. Okay, cool.
I was waiting for this part. I've seen this part out several times.
Yep. Okay, I'll quickly do this buying segment and I'll talk about that. Cool. Right, so that's the infamous cheese please skip. So what you're meant to do is you're meant to get all the way to the top of the building at the end of the level to assassinate the cheeseburger mayor. Don't read too much into it, it's Family Guy. But it turns out that the mayor's hitbox is always spawned in, just behind where you spawn. And so you can quite literally pop a 180 no-scope, shoot thin air, and end the level in about 5 seconds. I think the IRL record's like 3. It's ridiculously stupid. Okay. So we used a few items here to speed up this section. So this level we had all our items taken off us. But not our items though. We had all of our guns taken, not our items. Which seems like an oversight by the pirates, but let's not question them. So you can use those to kill some enemies here, Quiso. But also, we're going to need one to distract enemies upstairs, because there's going to be too many for us to get stuff back. Did I just 360 Mayan cheese? Yes, I did. Cool, right. Oh, excuse me. We're going to put our good friend the giant chicken here, whilst we deal with this. So Stewie's weapons, like, when I started running this game, had, like, 0 uses. Like, we thought they were all terrible. But it turns out Stewie's rocket launcher pretty good at mobbing. We'll see, especially in this section. Yeah, Stewie's rocket launcher is particularly good when we have to deal with a large group of enemies at once. So... quickly spawn trap enemies coming out of there. Cool. Oh, I missed one. Okay, so we use pause menu storage, and I'm going to do a different way of skipping the cutscene. Is we're going to quit out whilst watching the cutscene, and then we're going to load back in, and then hopefully not die to this big group of enemies. Nope. Cool. Alright, and now we have to sit through like a 1.5 minute, 2 minute auto-scroller whilst we wait for the pirate ships to blow up. So, if you want to read anything, go ahead.
Sure. Well, just to reiterate, like we did up top, we do have Frost Fatales coming up Tuesday, February 27th. Sorry, not Tuesday. February 27th to March 5th are the dates for that. You can type in !FF in the chat or go to gamesdonequick.com/framefatales for more info. But I did want to ask you, while we have a minute here, a few questions here about your time running this game. So this show, it's awfully silly, right? We feature games that are awful and or silly. Would you say this game is awful, silly, or both?
Oh man, it depends on who you ask. I liked the game when I was like 12 years old.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, if you go look at review scores, definitely awful. Silly. I mean, Family Guy is just silly, like by nature, is it not?
Yeah. It definitely fits on the show. That's for sure.
I mean, one of the big jokes of this level is literally that they're gay pirates. Like, you know. So, But yeah, I definitely both.
Definitely has that early 2010s kind of humor, that little bit of edgelordy kind of stuff, so that doesn't quite hold up nowadays. But it definitely is, from a speedrun perspective, a lot of really cool tech here, which is always something that we like to show off here on Awfully Silly. Questionable games with good technique.
All right, so we're gonna try and one cycle this boss. It's much harder on New Game than it is New Game Plus. Like, I have to hit all these shots pretty perfect. Oh my god. For some reason, I only ever hit this trick in marathons. I never hit it on PB attempts. And I just hit it again, so...
Woo!
Yay, marathons. Marathons events. Like literally, the past 3 events I've done, I've hit it. And it's not meant to be easy. Oh, man. Alright, so coming up is the Ruining Your Childhood level. We're in a universe where Santa is bad. He's a bad guy. And this is definitely the hardest level in like a modern modern any percent, because we have no health upgrades. And so we can die pretty easily. This level is full of a lot of dangerous sections. Okay, good. So yeah, we took advantage of mechanic that most platformers tend to have, which is a coyote jump or coyote time, where you can jump slightly after leaving a ledge, and we can use that to kind of get across that gap and skip that first objective. Yeah, so this is the issue with this level, is all this stuff. There's like suicide bombing elves, there's big guys that can throw things that slow you down, there's these elves that are pretty good shots. This is just like a death chamber. So I'm gonna make sure, okay, I'm gonna make sure that I have my health pack selected. Otherwise I am going to die. Yeah, so this level is essentially just like a vertical climb. There's a one skip where we can skip a loop going around by using another swap jump that we saw right at the start of the run. But for now we have to deal with a little bit of annoying kind of platforming and stuff. Specifically, there's going to be a section with a bunch of fans going, which try and push you off, but we're speedrunners. We don't want to wait for the fan cycle to turn off. We're just gonna like go for it and just pray. It's like a bit random whether the game wants to send me off, or it's like, yeah, you know what, you're fine. So let's see if the fans are nice to me today. Okay, fans were nice. For once. So we're gonna swap jump here to get up like this kind of invisible slope on these cogs. Very nice. Cool. And then we're going to be going up here to the boss Santa, where we're going to try and get a one cycle on him by killing him in one passing when he flies past the screen. He'll fly back and forth across the screen, and we're going to try and get him on his first go by. There is a strat where you can buy a weapon to make it slightly easier, but I'm going to go for style points and try and do it with a sniper rifle, which is the old method, and a lot harder, so let's see how this goes.
Anyway, I'm a bad guy now, so I'm gonna have to kill you. Merry Christmas, dicks.
Merry Christmas. Alright.
Just a couple months late.
Hey, jerks, you two can kiss my big round sack.
Alright, so I'm gonna quickly kill these enemies spawning right at the start. Right. I got frozen. Alright, well I can't hit the one cycle for this. It's fine. Come on. Ooh. Oh, if I had one more, if I had one more ammo in my clip, I could have gotten that on the second go around. Oh well. Come on, Santa, thank you. Cool.
Oof, that one felt close.
Yeah, a little bit. Alright.
Yeah, you would know better than me.
Yeah, I mean, that's not what's usually meant to happen, but we'll go with it. Alright, so I'm going to buy another gun, I'm going to buy an item, I'm going to buy an upgrade. Alright, so this used to be a trick that, or a technique that was used a lot in the run, and now it's really only in two of these last levels. So I'm going to do something called a satchel charge jump. So these like dynamite things have collision when you throw them, so we can kind of like throw them into a corner, and then kind of get a jump off of them in midair. It's being a little bit finicky with me today. Alright. Got it on the very last one I had as the ammo, which means I now have to do the harder version of this skip. Where I have to do a swap jump running at a very specific timing. Alright, cool. Okay, so we're gonna take this item, I'm gonna throw it into the door. So that might not seem like a lot, but when we threw that item into that door, we hit the trigger for it on the other side. That door's meant to be used for backtracking later on. But for some reason, if you throw the item at the door, it just hits the trigger on the other side. And that just skips like 3.5 minutes and some tricky platforming outside.
Now you got to flip that switch that rides
Alright.
the elevator down the line.
And so now we're pretty much almost at the end of the level.
All them gas tubes.
We use the second player there to skip another cutscene by respawning him in after the cutscene trigger. We're gonna run down this corridor and we'll get to the boss, which is kind of one of the harder points of the new game run. So there's a cutscene at the start of this boss coming up. That spawns in a bunch of enemies, which we can skip in New Game Plus, but we can't in New Game. So, it's gonna be a little bit tricky, especially with no health. Because essentially we need to hit those switches that you need to activate whilst not being damaged. But there's like enemies everywhere, so this is going to be a little bit tricky. But means you have to gape upon this massive chicken. Again, it's Family Guy, don't question boss design. Yeah, so we're going to have 3 cycles here. We deal enough damage to the chicken, hit the switch in front of it, then deal with the massive amount of enemies, hope we don't die, and then rinse and repeat. Let's see how this goes.
Kill that big old hand.
There's your wing there.
That chicken next to me I don't like. Whoa, okay. That's a new one. So, I don't want to, like, alarm anybody, but that's never happened before. I just skipped one of the boss cycles.
Okay.
Which I've never seen happen before. It's meant to do another round of shooting debris at you. That's new.
New tech discovered on Awfully Silly. All right, okay.
I'm gonna have to look into that later. Alright, so this level is why we play with no health upgrades. Is in co-op in this game, instead of fighting the AI chicken, you fight each other. One is chicken, one is Peter. But in co-op, the health of each other is based upon how many health upgrades you've bought. So if you buy no health upgrades, we can just beat up the second player, like, really fast.
Why is security like this every time?
Yeah, so it's like, it saves like 40 seconds, I think, over just fighting the AI. Man, I can't get over that phase not happening. Granted, that probably saves like 5 seconds, but still exciting. Alright, warning for tech, this is going to be really loud, this cutscene. Just heads up. Oh, it's so bad.
Would you at least want me to wipe first?
Oh, I want one of those.
Ah, my ears.
That there fancy helmet off the dinosaur.
So, yeah, I don't know if that was suppressed for people in chat, but that cutscene is not audio balanced correctly, and is absolutely deafening. Anyway, so here's like the hardest, like one of the hardest skips in the game, which of course I get first try, because why wouldn't I? So there you have to do a satchel charge jump off of a flat wall, which is not easy, because the That's a chance there's nothing to grip onto. We can just easily slide down the wall. Now we're out of bounds. You do a very tight walk across that. And then so that just skips phases 1 and 2 of the final boss. Which is very annoying. And we can skip straight to the last phase of the last boss, which is, you know, like super easy. Which is kind of, it's essentially an auto-scroller, let's be honest. With like minimal time save from depending on how the dinosaur walks. Yeah, we're gonna go hang out with our our friend here. Just happens to have the safest garden standing, or yard for you Americans. So, you know, ignore him. Anyway, so, yeah. So we're coming up to the end of the run now. You know, I'm in this yard, I'm pretty safe. I'm just gonna wait for the dinosaur to walk back and forth. And oh, all right, time is coming up. Or when I skipped the credits. Oh god, he moves so slow. Come on. There we go. That is time.
Whoa, GG.
All right, that's not bad. I'm pretty well, all things considered. I think I made like 1 big mistake, maybe 2. I don't know what that weird piece of tech involving a cutscene, sorry, not a cutscene, a phase of the boss not happening.
Yeah, I wonder how much time that ended up saving you exactly.
Oh, probably like 5 seconds. It's not that long of a phase.
Well, hey, it still helps. Looks like you got a 33.55 on our end, so.
Yeah, it's a 33.10 without loads of people are wondering.
Excellent. Well done.
Yeah, not bad.
Awesome.
Only a minute behind. All right. Yeah, so if you're interested in running this game, even though it's Family Guy and it's a bit, the feed run itself is fun. It's quite broken. You can no longer get the game on Steam because Activision decided not to pay their license. Well, EA owns it now, but we can help you locate a copy of the game if you're interested. You know, speedrun.com/BTTM. There's a Discord and everything there. I can help you with the game if you're interested. And yeah, that should be all from me. Other than, you know, shout out to Hoon, Toxic Pinhead, who's like the king of breaking cartoon games. I guarantee that most cartoon speedruns you see, he's probably had a hand in breaking it. And yeah, just shout out to the rest of the Family Guy community.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much for that wonderful run. We appreciate it. For everyone out there, we're going to take a quick little break here to stretch, get some drinks, you know, get some snacks if you want, whatever it is that you need. And we will be right back with some more speedruns based off of silly shows. We'll see you in a few moments. All right, and welcome back to Awfully Silly, the Silly Shows edition. We got another excellent game coming up for you. Just wanted to remind everyone as well, if you happen to be watching on YouTube, go on over to twitch.tv/gamesdonequick if you're interested in looking at our live content, which starts weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern mainly, and weekends at 1 p.m. Eastern as well. And your subs and bits help support the weekly hotfix content. So please consider supporting daily content by subscribing or cheering. But without further ado, we have yet another, we actually have a mini block within the show going on right now. We're going to have a little bit of a SpongeBob block here for you. And first, what we're going to do is we're going to have SpongeBob SquarePants SuperSponge, the GBA version, and it's going to be run by None21. So None21, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, you know, just ate some spaghetti, so I'm feeling pretty refilled and refreshed, so, yeah. This is...
load before the run, yeah.
Exactly, you know what I'm saying. But, yeah, this is SpongeBob SuperSponge, or just SpongeBob SquarePants, as it says on the title screen. Press start. And, yeah, this is a pretty straightforward run. Nothing else you can say to it. Just hold right, jump a couple times, and hope for the best. So without further ado, let's get this started. So I'm just gonna push A on start new game. So that'll be in 3, 2, 1, go. All right.
Good luck.
So, yeah, thank you. All right. So again, like I said, this is just a straightforward game. We have these collectibles that we gotta collect at the end of the stage. So basically, for the lore of this game is it's almost Patrick's birthday, and you're just trying to be a good pal and give him something nice. And that nice thing is an autograph from your boy, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. So in order to actually get that autograph, we have to, for now, make him a sandwich. So we got the jellyfish jelly. And coming up next, we're about to get the peanut butter, which is at Sandy's Tree Dome. So it's just really nice. Really only the vertical section in this game. So yeah, just gonna climb up here and hope you don't fall off. Because if I do, then that kind of suck. So one of the things you will see me doing a lot during this run actually is using my butt pound attack really, and that's really just good for attacking and just overall movement because the usual karate chop is very slow and wastes a lot of time. So and it will get rid of your momentum actually. So if you're just running, well not at full speed because speed is kind of just set, but if you just hold right and then attack, then it'll just like entirely just kill your whole momentum. So just using that butt pounding attack is just way easier and just this is very helpful. That's what I'm trying to say essentially. So but yeah, just butt pound and hope we don't get okay, this is bad. Okay, yeah, but I had to like focus here for a quick second because that was just very bad movement right there. But the butt pound is just the best way to attack and for overall movement and stuff. But yeah, as you can see, we got the 3 main ingredients for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and now it's gonna be a little weird because now it's asking us to get kelp lettuce. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm allergic to peanut butter first of all, so I'm gonna die if I eat a peanut butter jelly sandwich. But who in the world puts lettuce on their peanut butter and jelly sandwich? That's like crime itself. So I don't know if Mermaid and Barnacle Boy are heroes or not because they want lettuce in their sandwich. So I'm just gonna leave that there. But coming up, we got our first boss, and she's a bit RNG heavy. This is a big run curve for like this game really. So just her movement is just so random, and her spawn for her babies are just also random. So you can waste a lot of time on this stage essentially. So, but she's giving us pretty good RNG. One thing about I just missed that attack entirely. But one thing you do want to do in this attack is just stay to the top because she can go through floors and okay, well, I don't know why she's not okay. That was just a lot of time wasted. Okay, but yeah, you want to stay to the top and try to keep her like in the stage because she can just go through the floor and just chill there for a quick second and then just ruin your time. So very essential to stand on top, but this is almost done. She got like 3 more hits left. So okay, let me not die. Or you can die. I have died as the boss. I know it's very embarrassing, but it has happened. And that's about it. I'm gonna give them their sandwich and move on to Cavernous Canyons. And this is more so like the chapter 2 of this game. Because you can see we went to, the bikini bottom stages in the first chapter. Now we're going to the middle of the earth, which is, yeah, just in chapter 2. And chapter 2 is more so about cycles, like trying to catch cycles and just trying to get fast movement overall. And as you can see, I did kind of miss a cycle there because you are able to ground pound on that jellyfish and just catch another early cycle there, but I kind of did miss that, so I'm gonna have to make up for the time loss, and that it was gonna troll me, so that's why I just decided to not just run into him because yeah, I just don't want to get trolled. But that is Cave Part 1. Coming up, we got Cave Part 2, which is literally the same stage. So, yeah, thermal tunnel. Alright, so, this stage, it has a very, well, near the end of the stage, it has a very type 1 cycle. This, I can just get damaged there and nothing will happen. I'll catch the cycle easily. But near the end, I'm gonna be quiet since, wait, I am gonna be quiet. So just try to catch a 1 cycle. So, this is also kind of tricky. Okay, I might not make this cycle too. Kind of scared. Alright. Okay, I am scared. Okay, I did make it. Okay, cool. Cause I did miss that one time, but okay, here we go. There. Jump off that. Here we go. Alright. We might make it if I don't mess up. I mean, I can take a deep boost, but I would prefer not to take a deep boost here. But alright, and the hardest part of this is this section right here. Literally the end section. Did I make it? Okay, I barely missed it, but yeah, essentially you can't make the cycle, which saves about like 5 seconds. So, but yeah, too bad we missed it, so gonna keep on moving on. And then we got the air pocket, which is the same cave part 3. So yay, let's go, we're in the same cave. But yeah, this stage is also pretty straightforward, just hold right. It's probably one of the easiest stages when learning this game, if you are gonna learn this game. This game in general is just really easy to learn as a speedrun, because all you do is hold right and ground pound a couple places and bam. Alright, I was trying to kill it. I was not trying to get this balloon because it gets rid of my ground pound, so I'm gonna have to get rid of it. I'm gonna have to trade in for another jellyfish net. And yeah, I kind of missed this cycle, but that's okay. Just gonna keep going. And that's pretty much the stage. But keep up with the lure, because I kind of forgot about the lure for a quick second. Merman and Barnacle Boy are feeling a bit ugly, so they're like, hey, get us these products so we can make ourselves look good. So that's what we're doing, which is can be found in the middle of the earth with lava. We might die, but we might live, so that's what I'm saying. But very scary deboost, and I died. Okay. But yeah, for this part, it's a little bit tricky. You want to deboost off the sail, right? Just take the invisibility frames there, and then deboost this, that hill, and then bam, you're at the section. And then, okay, that hermit crab wasn't there, so that's good. And they're very scary, so I'm gonna likely wait right here. Deboost here, because those hitboxes are very long, and they last a long while, so just deboost off them and you're good. But second boss, pretty much wait until he comes near you and just attack. And that's pretty much it. Nothing else can be said. And this is chapter 2, which was get the products, the makeup products. Right. What I am gonna do at the end of this boss is stand near the left. Okay, that was kind of early, but I'm just gonna stand to the left over here and let him drop his bombs, and then I'm gonna stand top over here, and then as soon as he's dead, I'm gonna look down, and that'll just despawn him really quicker. So a little bit of time save there. And we're on to chapter 3, and they lost their clothes. Like they need a fresh pair of clothes. That's keeping up with the lore. They need Mermaid and Marco Boy need a fresh pair of clothes, and in order to do that, we have to go to the past, like Back to the Future style, and get them some more clothes. They want the latest and greatest for their, clothing, their threads. So going to the past is the best way to go for that. So I had to take the time machine from that one SpongeBob episode that Squidward used to get rid of SpongeBob and Patrick, get rid of, but I just paused it on accident. But and we had to go back past and get them clothes. We got the underwear. Let's go. Yeah, we're just gonna be in the desert wasteland now. It's basically like the same stage. It's also pretty easy. Just hold right and jump a couple places. We got some, I don't even know what that is, like lava or sand or something. I don't know. But I'm just gonna jump over it, not get hit. and very deep here. And yeah, just fun. But yeah, this game is again really easy. You want to learn how to speedrun it. I would recommend this game to any new speedrunners in general who want to like just learn a speedrun. I would recommend this game because it's literally easy. You can get a pretty decent time very early on, like a decent time, about a 19 or 20. Well, I got a 19, and I got that because I was bored one day because I usually am a Sonic runner. I'm not trying to, well, I mean, I am. I'm gonna do it anyway. But yeah, I'm gonna just promote the Sonic community. They're very cool people. Yeah, I was just bored one day because I was doing Sonic speedruns, and I was like, hey, I want to play this game because I played this game as a kid a lot. I played this game a lot as a kid, and I just had a feeling I just speedrun one day. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna learn this, and here we are. So I meant to put a bubble there for a quick second. Okay, I forgot her. But yeah, the bubble is going to be our only weapon or upgrade we're going to actually utilize because it just helps us get to the platform. Okay, that was just weird, but yeah, that was Kelp Jungle. I am like stumbling over my words a lot, but so yeah, just bear with me. But all right, we're inside the well. Nothing else can be said. Just got eaten by a well, and gonna exit out now. But I'm gonna help this well out by defeating the boss at the end, which is a parasite worm. And yeah, the worm ate something bad, and we feel kind of bad for Worm, even though he ate us. So we're just gonna help him out by killing his worm for him. So all right, that was a lot of deboost here. But yeah, one thing about deboosting this game is if you get hit one time, and you'll have your invincibility frames, of course, but if you get hit while having your invincibility frames, you'll just not take no more damage at all. So it is very safe to just get hit one time and just keep it over and over. Alright, but for the worm, pattern is very set. You can just... Okay, that was actually really good. Okay, didn't expect that. Yeah, the pattern's set, so if you just keep doing what you keep doing over and over again, then the worm will just stay the same throughout. So yeah, the boss essentially is scripted. So that's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, but now going back to the lore, Mermaid and Barnacle Boy. I cannot say their names right for the life of me, but just try saying it 5 times in a row. I swear it's hard, but yeah, Mermaid and Barnacle Boy. They're feeling a little hungry again, so they have a little bit of sweet tooth right now. They have a sweet tooth, and they want a candy bar. So we're gonna have to go to the bottom rock bottom and get them a candy bar with 4 of the balloons, and that's it. They just want a candy bar from rock bottom, and it's our job to get it for them for the power, for like the friendship that we have with Patrick. So that's about it. Stage is a bit boring. It's just only souls. Nothing too hard. This is probably the easiest stage of the whole game. I probably said it like 5 times already, but I swear this stage is just very easy. I could probably do this with my eyes closed, but I'm not gonna do it. Right, not here, but you know.
Blindfolded speedrun when?
You know, a little pressure on me, but okay, I am taking a lot of damage that I should not be taking. You can literally do this damage list, but no, I'm just playing a little sloppy right now. But yeah, coming up next we got my favorite stage, Graveyard. Yeah, this is the first level I actually learned for this game, and I just always liked it. It was very easy for me to learn, so I was like, hey, game's really good. So, or speedrun is really good. So, alright, cop that cycle because you can just stay on that platform and just mess up your movement there. So, alright, just gonna catch this cycle, and then hardest part of the stage is this deboost right here, and bam. Alright. just gonna deboost here. And jump over these dudes and we're good. Alright. And we got the 3 coins. Now it's time to get our 4th coin, which is at last stop with a special guest. So stay tuned for who that guest is. Okay, just gonna deboost here and then jump here. And I did not know what I was doing for. I had a brain fart for a quick second. So, alright. Let me try this again now. So just gonna jump over these dudes. Alright. Deboost off of this man. And alright, there we go. You do not want to fall off or you'll die. Alright. I did make this cycle. Cool, okay. That was a little scuffed, but we made it. Alright. But yeah, this stage has a lot of, platforming, or just simple jumps really, but there's a pit at the bottom, so it's important not to fall off. That scared me, okay. Alright, that part kind of scared me for a quick second because of that one deboost, but we got our guest now, the Flying Dutchman, my boy. Alright, so we're just gonna beat him up real quick because he doesn't like us stealing his coins, so he's just gonna start attacking us. But before he even does that, we're gonna attack him. So nothing else can be said, just wait, hope for the best that he doesn't spawn on top, which is the reason why I'm looking up, because he can just spawn at the top and waste or just sneak attack on you really. But yeah, I'm just gonna attack him like the first frame possible, and just 2 hits left, and that'll be the end of the Flying Dutchman. And oh, he's right there. Cool. Okay, thank you. But yeah, that's about it. And we're coming up to the last chapter of the game, which is Industry. And we are going back to Jellyfish Fields, but it's the bad future. So we did a little bit of, we kind of messed up the future, when we went to past, and we just kind of messed up everything. So now Jellyfish Fields is just a very nasty place to be in now, and kind of sucks for the jellyfishes here. And okay, I'm gonna be quiet for here because this jump is really hard and I hate it a lot. So I think I did miss the cycle. Okay, that kind of scared me for a quick second because I went further than I thought. But that jump right there is a huge run killer because you have to time it very precisely. This jump too, but yeah, you can just fall off very easily because that cycle gotta it's about timing really, because you have to stand on the left more so side of the platform, and then as soon as the other platform gets on screen, then you have to run and then jump on it, which is very bit tricky when when I was learning this game, but I kind of figured out a cue for when going with a jump. But yeah, but we're in Man-Ray's lair, so we're just trying to get an antenna here. We're not trying to do nothing to Man-Ray. We're just literally getting an antenna because Merman and Barnacle Boy's TV broke, and it's their job to fix it now. So we're gonna do it. So yeah. So now we're going to Oil Rig, and this is where we get to see our only glitch in the game. And I did not get it first try. I did not get it second try, so I'm gonna just... Alright, let me see. Okay, we got it 4th try. But that in turn will just not make us get the first cycle. We're gonna probably get the 3rd. Okay, that kind of hit me. Okay, I did not know that was gonna hit me. Where are these dudes? Alright. Alright, I'm gonna have to be quiet here because I might die, and that'll be no good. Alright. Okay, that dude does not die. He does not like dying. But okay, I might fail. I might fall off here. May not. Okay. I'm gonna wait here. I'm gonna take a deep boost here and then get more life. Cool. Okay, yeah. Very important. Do not die there because you might go back to this stage, which would suck. But now we're at the last stage, which is Canning Factory. Pretty straightforward stage. Gonna just attack there so we can kill our momentum. Like I said in the beginning, the gloves, and yeah, that's about it. Stage is very easy, like I said. So, but yeah, time is coming up when I fight the boss, or the last of them boss. And you look at this conveyor belt, it is not moving me to the left, so the devs are very lazy with this game, that's all I'm saying. But yeah, just gonna take this platform up, leave this on this box, and then, okay, that was, I think, too fast? I'm not too sure, but, alright, not get killed there. Yeah, this boss, pretty easy, like, probably the easiest boss in this whole game. Okay, he is moving. This is bad. I do not want him to move. I want him to stay in place. Alright, but yeah, just gonna have him in like a stun lock state. So if you're just chilling inside this hitbox while just attacking him, then you just stay there in place. But this is not good because I might die. Okay, that's it. That's time by the way. Okay, alright, that's good because I was kind of getting scared there because I had 20 health left and he was just moving. He was zooming all over the place. So yeah, that's it for SuperSponge. I don't care what you say. I love this game and it is Game of the Year for 2001. Alright, I know there's a PS1 version that they say is better, but the GBA version is where it's at. Alright, that's all I'm saying, hands down. But yeah, that's it for SuperSponge. I'm none to one, by the way. I can't even say my name right. What the heck? But yeah, I'm none to one. You can find me on Twitch. None to one. That's N0NE_2_0NE. I'm on Twitter. If you want to know when I go live, you can follow me there. I'm mainly on Twitch. Just streaming Sonic games. I'm right now on the grind for getting a better time in Sonic 1 because I'm actually mainly a Sonic run, like I said earlier in the stream. Yeah, shout out to the Sonic speedrun community again. Amazing people. If you really run a Sonic game, they're not that hard, I swear. They're very fun. And yeah, thanks again GDQ for having me. It was kind of random that you guys want to pick this game again. But yeah. But yeah, I just really appreciate you guys, inviting me to a GDQ. So yeah, thank you, Conception.
Yeah, our pleasure. And random is exactly what I look for Awfully Silly. So it was a perfect fit. Thank you so much, Nun, for running this. Excellent job as always. We're gonna take a little break here. So go ahead, get your stretch on. Go ahead and get your peanut butter and jelly and lettuce sandwiches, or whatever your combination of ingredients is for your sandwich. And we'll see you here in a few moments. Yeah.
I swear, if you put a piece of lettuce on that sandwich, I'm gonna come find you and take that piece of lettuce off and make you eat the peanut butter and jelly and the bread just itself. Okay? I'm doing you guys a favor. All right.
All right, you heard it here first. So we'll see you back here in a few minutes. All right, welcome back, everyone, to Awfully Silly, the Silly Shows edition. I mentioned it before, that excellent SuperSponge run by None to One, that we have a mini block within our mini marathon here, which is a SpongeBob block. And we have another excellent SpongeBob game up next for you. Real quick, we did want to remind you that if you happen to have any excellent ideas for your own show or one-off events that could be featured as a part of the GDQ Hotfix programming, feel free to go on over to gamesdonequick.com/hotfix to submit your ideas. We'd love to see them. But, without further ado, we are going to have my first repeat guest on Awfully Silly, which is my good pal, Jaxler, going to be running SpongeBob's Truth or Square, any % no LSG. We're going to have to figure out what that means here in a second. But yeah, Jaxler, how's it going?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me a second time, Concession. I'm very flattered to be here. Yeah, so this is Truth or Square. Like Conception said, my name's Jaxler, he, him pronouns for me. I'm also going to be joined by a commentator this time. I've got Jack Wacko on the mic.
How's it going, everybody?
Yeah, and so we're going to be showing off Truth or Square. So if you've never seen this game before, this is a 3D platformer game that was made by Heavy Iron Studios in 2009. They're the same geniuses behind Battle for Bikini Bottom and the SpongeBob movie game, if you've played those games. But this game's in a completely new engine, so there are very little carryovers in terms of speed tech between the two engines. But even still, this game is really, really broken, and we're really excited to share it with you folks. So to briefly explain the category name, which is a little bit weird, we ran any percent actually at SGDQ 2021, but the difference between that run and what you're going to see tonight is the no LSG component, which for right now, we'll explain what LSG is when we get further into the run, but the best way you could think about this category for right now is it's sort of an all levels category with extra restrictions on it to make it a little more interesting and fun to run. So this is kind of one of those sort of community-made sort of things when new glitches were discovered. And yep, my 360 controller disconnected. So give me just a second. There we go. Yeah, so I think that's everything I wanted to cover before we got started here. So time is going to start when I make a new save file, and I think we're pretty much ready to go. So time will start in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck on the run, Jax.
All right, thank you. Whew, all right, so first things first, the most important thing about this game is that there are trivia questions in the loading screens. This has in-loading screen trivia, which is unlike any game I've ever seen. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to skip through the text a little bit early to save time, but I highly encourage everyone to play along in the chat and see how many you can get right or wrong.
Yeah, wide variety of difficulty on the questions. Some of them are complete, like, easy ones. Some of them are just way too obscure, but very fun time.
Yeah. So, hopping into the first level, we're immediately going to differ from what we would do in an any percent run, because we would, in any percent, just, okay, sorry, Mom, you'll have to wait. So we're already, I got a horrible pattern, too. First, Mom texts me, and then we got a horrible bit of RNG here, but that's okay. So these robots, I'm trying to get them to bunch up into multiple groups, so that way I can hit them all with the same hammer swing. Unfortunately, at the start of the level, they can wander around before they get inside aggro range. So as a result, they spread out really, really far there. Sometimes they can be really close to you and you get all three in a triple. But every time I can combine 2 or more robots together in a single swing, that's called a double. And that saves about a second per swing. So I'm lining myself up in a specific spot so that the robots will line up in the correct position so that I can just hit a double right here. And then hopefully, if I'm lucky, they won't wander too far away from the second position. Okay, good. They decide to play nice here. And then once I get those 4, we have 1 more. We save the 5th one up top for last because we can do a little bit of a shortcut up this slope. And then once we take care of this last one, we set up on this platform here to do what's called Tiki Jump. This is sort of the first major trick of this specific category. Big noob killer strat, I would say, as well. Double jump, and there's just a little bit of the cliff right there that is past the fence. So you can actually use that there to hop up and skip a button, which saves about 15 seconds in platforming.
That was a very clean tiki jump right there.
Yeah, and so kind of like I was saying earlier, this is sort of like an all levels run with an extra restriction. We'll talk about it in a bit more depth later, but there's a lot of ways you can basically glitch to the ends of levels in this game, and this category forbids the use of that exploit. So we'll go into a bit more detail about what that looks like because it'll be a little bit easier to point out with a visual example. But as I make my way into the back part of jellyfishing, we're going to go into the first 2 really major sequence breaks of this level, which are barrels 1 and 2, and I'll let Jack take over here.
Yeah, so after this little slide section here, the developers put in this obstacle course that you're supposed to go through, and this is like a pretty kind of tedious section of the game. It takes about like a minute to get through casually, and it's a bit annoying because we can see the ledge right there of where we need to go. But luckily, since there's a lot of barrels in this like open area right here, we're able to kind of move them over to this corner and barely get enough height in order to get up there.
I should be able to save this.
Yeah, this looks like a good angle. Just
yeah, there we go.
Okay, nice, that was clean. Yeah, so we can just like completely skip over the obstacles by using the barrel here, and we're gonna do the exact same thing in the second section. Although this section is a lot more difficult for barrel 2 because this area is a lot more open, and the barrel is very prone to getting like stuck in this corner that Jax was going to be moving it over to. But that looks like a good setup.
Yeah,
like,
that was almost perfect.
God. That was so clean. Oh my god, that is a.
That's the scarier one too. You have to have that above vertical, or otherwise you can't get the height from the barrel platform. So.
Yeah, that was fantastic, barrels. Well done.
Yeah. And then right here, normally these slides you can't jump on. I'm gonna jump on the railing though instead because the railings don't have that like sticky property applied to them. And we can use that to skip some of the slide section there. So this fight, We kind of don't have a firm grasp on how this works in sort of the code backend sort, but the best explanation, like the Cliff Notes, is that there can only be 5 enemies in the arena at once, and you have to kill 25 in order to trigger the end of the level. And so in order to spawn in a total of 5 enemies, the game will prioritize spawning in a pack of these 3 blue spinner robots, and then supplement that count by spawning in the green hammer bots until it reaches 5 enemies in the arena. So what I'm doing is I'm killing them in a specific order in order to manipulate how the game spawns them in, so that the last 3 robots that I kill are going to be 3 blue spinners. If you don't do that, what can sometimes happen is you'll have a sort of paused period where the game will just wait for a little bit because it's trying to spawn in 3 blue spinner robots, and that can lose you up to 10 seconds. So by killing those enemies in a specific order and moving very specifically, I can get the exact outcome that I want there. Okay.
Yeah, that was a really clean fight. You can get it in like two like hammer animations, but having like one left at the end, especially where that final blue robot was, still really solid.
Yeah. All right, so now we're going into Kelp Forest, which is one of the biggest reset points in pretty much every category in this game. Because this is going to be the first example of a hammer clip in this category, and I'm going to be going for a bit of a new setup that's a little bit faster, it's a little risky, but I'm going to give it a try, and I'm going to have Jack explain what you're about to see here.
Yeah, so this is the first instance of a hammer clip. This setup is basically a bit more consistent than what we used to have, but essentially how the trick works is you have to lure one of those hammer bots that you saw in jellyfish fields to a very specific distance away from a wall. And if you get in between the hammer and the wall's hitbox, it just sends you right through the wall. And
yes!
Oh, nice. That was super clean. Yeah, so that allows us to access the out-of-bounds area. And unlike Battle for Bikini Bottom and SpongeBob Movie, when you go out of bounds, there's no like hand to take you out of the level. So we're able to just completely bypass a ton of like the inbounds like ambush section that's over to our left. And by death warping back in, you're able to just skip over about 30 seconds of gameplay. That was a really clean
That was really good,
there.
yeah.
Shouts to Crash and Exotic Sponge, by the way, for that setup. They were super instrumental in like, optimizing Kelp out of bounds.
So right here, we're gonna do even more new tech. This tech has a lot of new stuff. This run has a lot of new tech flying by in this level. We did something there called a spin boost, which is where we have used a physics interaction between using our spin attack while a blue spinner robot is attacking. Normally, the game expects you to be on that ground when that collision occurs, but if you jump right before you clank into the robot, the game fails to cap your vertical speed, and it basically gives you a super jump that you can use to reach platforms that you normally couldn't otherwise. So in that instance, we use it to skip some platforming there. And then coming up right here, one of the hardest tricks in the run, Eric Andre clip. I'll let Jack explain.
Yeah, this is another hammer clip. Basically, if you kind of go around the hammer bots in the specific route, if you're the right distance away, you're able to clip through and save about like 6 seconds. Although it's one of those that like we really don't have a good way to back it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, not too big a deal. Like it only loses about like 10 seconds or so because you basically just do the fight without the buff power up. So it just takes a few extra hits on the hammer robot. And then you're able to just go to the rest of like the level there.
Yeah, and if I did it right, I would just basically subvert this hallway and walk out of bounds until I hit a cutscene trigger. So you're not missing too much. It's just for this kind of a thing, it's kind of a swag strat. So just for safety there, I did another spin boost in order to just clear over the boxes so I didn't accidentally mess up a jump. And then right here, I'm gonna stand still so I can get a spinner robot to drop in right here. And then if I spin, a little late. Yeah, so you might be able to understand why we call that clip the Eric Andre, but I won't explain the joke. But we do a spin boost right there to reach that paddle right there so we can activate these platforms, and then you do another spin boost off of the big spinner robot, which tend to be much more difficult to do on the bigger guys, in order to get back up to where I need to go, and that lets me get through without having to do any of the puzzle platforming there. Jack, while I do gate skip, can you explain what spin hopping is?
Yeah, spin hopping is kind of just this movement tech that we use throughout the game when we do have the buff power up. Essentially what we do is we jump, and like immediately after jump, we activate the spin like move, and that gives us a very small speed boost like horizontally, which is really helpful in like, traversing the level like really fast. So we do it like as much as we can throughout the level. That was a really clean spin boost, by the way. That can be really difficult to set up, especially with the hammer bot there, but that was very clean.
Yeah. And now that, so one of the properties of the buff power-up actually is that in addition to having spin hopping be an available technique, we also deal double damage with all of our attacks. So this mini-boss here, the Yellow Submarine, Shadows to the Beatles, is normally a 3-cycle fight, but because I deal double damage, I can actually do this in 2 cycles instead, which saves, I think, roughly 15 seconds or so from the normal fight. It also makes the movement a lot cleaner and a lot more fun. But like I said, you have to play damageless in order to make sure that you don't lose the buff power-up. So that's like kind of one of the fun like risk-reward factors about sort of the skill ceiling of this game. Unfortunate. If you stand in the right spot there, the treasure chest here can actually push you into the happiness object here. And that happiness object is what triggers this cutscene, so we could have saved a couple more seconds there, but not a huge deal. So these happiness objects are given to you at the end of each level as sort of a collectible. You get one for beating the end of each main level, and in platforming levels you can backtrack for 2 additional ones as collectibles. So the sort of definition of this category is we have to get all of those end-level happiness objects from their intended location. And the reason we have that stipulation is in some levels you can find those objects just chilling out of bounds under the floor, and if you grab them it will trick the game into activating the end level cutscene, thereby skipping the whole level. And that trick has some extra implications. You can actually use it to trick the game into skipping levels that you actually haven't played at all. It's kind of a hilarious glitch. I highly recommend checking out the run we did at SGDQ 2021 of the Any Percent category, where that glitch is heavily exploited. But for now, we're going into Robo Patrick, which is a pretty straightforward fight. This fight is all about maintaining buff power-up. So like I mentioned in the previous level, when you take damage in buff power-up, you just lose it, and you lose all the benefits of it. So as a result, I need to be very deliberate in what movement patterns I take so that I know I can sort of predict the robot behaviors. So luckily for me, every time those robots spawn in, they spawn in mid-air in the same spot every time for this fight. So as a result, I can go to a predetermined location and double jump and nail one of them mid-air, and that allows me to spin hop fast enough to reach all of the other ones before they have the chance to retaliate. So yeah, pretty much this fight's rather straightforward from here. I'm going to do the same thing in phase 2.5 to 3. So I'm standing right here for the next phase of robots. But this is pretty straightforward. So Conception, I don't know if we had anything we wanted to plug, or anybody in the chat had any questions about some of the stuff so far, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we had a good reaction to that Eric Andre skip, which I got the reference. I'm glad other people seem to be as well. Just to clarify, because some people are asking a little bit as well, could you go over once again what the LSG portion stands for?
Yeah, so LSG stands for, it's an acronym that stands for Level Skip Glitch. So I mentioned a little bit with happiness objects where some of them are located out of bounds, but there's also triggers out of bounds that functionally do the same thing, where you hit them and it activates the end level cutscene of a given platforming level. And using that exploit is forbidden in this category. So you have to end each level in its more or less intended location. Additionally, for some levels, if you repeat the process of beating a level through its out of bounds trigger, you can advance the story progress, and that's sort of the level skipping glitch, right? Because the game does not discriminate from beating like jellyfishing versus beating Robopat. They all just advance an integer number in the game's memory as to what our current story progress is. So if you do that exploit, you can, in any percent, you can actually just beat Murmler 6 times, and that counts as beating like the entire back half of the game. So, like for example, this next level we're going into, which is one of my favorites, Fry Cooking, you actually wouldn't normally see this in any percent anymore, because we can do level skip glitch in the first level and bypass the story progress past this level. So we wouldn't even see this level in the first place. But because of the category restriction, we get to see a whole lot more levels than we would otherwise. So this level, Fry Cooking, again, one of my favorites. It's broken up into 2 halves. The first half is kind of like this auto-scrollery bus wash section where there's a couple of cycles that we're trying to make, but otherwise it's rather straightforward. But after this, we have a sequence of 3 really cool strats back-to-back that we kind of call the Gauntlet, where it's 3 pretty tough platforming skips that let us... There's like a lot of puzzles in this level because we unlock the cannon shot, which we're actually going to be using in later levels for some DPS when we don't have the buff power-up equipped. But for right now, we just use it for hitting all of these cannon shot switches. But as we go into this next boss, bus wash. I keep wanting to say boss rush. As we go into this next section here, after I come off, I'm going to go a bit quiet because, again, there's going to be 3 pretty difficult strats almost back to back. And I'm going to let Jack kind of start to explain what we're going to be doing as we make our way to the end here.
Yeah, so as you can see, like after this like auto-scroller section, it's just going to be a lot more puzzles, and you could probably notice like a lot of those like cannon targets that you're supposed to hit, and on them there's like a propeller that's like keeping it in the air. And we're going to be jumping on those propellers in this next area in order to jump over an invisible wall. Jack's just going to just jump around this bridge in order to skip a cutscene trigger. But by jumping on the propeller right here, barely going off the coral,
Spinless? Yes!
Nice. That was super clean. You're able to scale over that invisible wall and just completely skip over that puzzle. And we're going to be doing the same thing in this next area. But before we got to do that, we have to do tub skip. Right over there in the distance, you can see Mr. Krabs standing in front of a tub. This is one of the abilities that SpongeBob has to just shoot water to expand spongy platforms, but by jumping into this rock that doesn't have any collision detection, we're able to go over to this rock and just jump over to the puzzle while skipping that cutscene. Saves about 7 seconds. And we're going to continue on to this one more propeller jump right here. This is a very tall wall right over where the bus is, so we have to basically go on the propeller, then over to the lamppost, and then back over the invisible wall. And
good clear? Yes.
That looks good. That was a really clean gauntlet.
Yeah. The tricky thing about that invisible wall there at the end is that it's actually sort of like tilted to a degree from what you would expect. So you actually have to approach that invisible wall from the left side in order to get enough height to clear. That's something that trips up a lot of new runners as well. That skip can be really tricky. But we pick up Squidward there because he is a lethal clarinetist. He just absolutely shreds through enemies. You're going to see him a little bit more later into the run as well. And then right here, I do what's called UI jump, where I wait for the UI to fade in the top left corner in order to know when SpongeBob is actually controllable. So I can time a jump, so even though the camera hasn't moved over, I can still make use of the movement and save some extra time. Did a trick there called a paddle boost. So those paddles right there with the paddle switches always spin clockwise. So if you spin into them from the left side, you can actually kind of ride on them for half a second, and it gives you a huge speed boost if you pull it off. Oh, I thought I hit it. Darn it. If you do this right, you can actually oh, okay, that's a weird cycle. We'll take it. You can actually ricochet cannon shots off the incorrect side while it's rotating if you do it properly. And that can let you save a couple of cycles there. But yeah, we made it to the end of Fry Cook here. Gonna wait for the bus to stop. You have to be very careful there because if you go early, the treasure chest can clip you inside the floor of the bus there, and it sucks. Nice, that was a good Fry Cook.
That one mistake has gotten many runners throughout TOS history. Yeah. It's very unfortunate.
Me at least thrice. But now we're going into, we were talking about level escape glitch. This is one of the levels that is so much different than every other category because we can't use level skip glitch. Normally we would just go out of bounds, collect a happiness object, and the level is over. But we're gonna do something completely different. So this is a bit tricky. So Jack's gonna explain what I'm doing here while I'm going.
Yeah, so in order to get around a lot of the levels, we use a lot of out-of-bounds stuff because as you notice in Kelp, a lot of the terrain kind of wraps around itself and we're able to access different areas while we're even just at the start of the level. So what Jax is going to do is he's going to go on these ice blocks right here to access an out-of-bounds area because the developers, once again, did not put collision detection on that wall. And that allows us to go out of the level right here. So he's just going to kind of go around the inside of the level, essentially, go on these boxes to access the platform that we started the level on. And by kind of moving in this path, we're able to just breeze through the level. Like right now, Jaxler has already hit the halfway point of the level if we were doing it normally. And so he's going to go for a really tight jump around this hallway in order to continue on. Looks good.
That's going to clear, yeah.
Nice, that was really clean. If you undershoot there, even if you're moving towards the wall, you just end up sliding off and dying. And since you didn't access a checkpoint at that point, you would just get sent back to the beginning. But we do a death warp into this piston room, and we can continue on with the level. That was super clean.
Yeah, that movement was good too. So if you do that gumball movement there fast enough, you can actually get by there before the steam cycle smacks you back. And then this elbow pipe just doesn't exist. I don't know why. It's just funny because it just says 5 seconds in mandatory puzzle there. But yeah, we're already at the end of the level and going into probably one of my favorite skips in the whole game, which is Tendy Skip, or Tenderizer Skip for short, but Tendy Skip is funnier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the first sort of attack on this boss as normal, and then you're going to see me double jump at a certain timing while he claps me back. And if I did it right, boss dies.
Nice. Let's go.
So we're not 100% certain why that works, but we have a theory based on similar skips that are in Battle for Bikini Bottom. What we believe is the case is that there's some sort of invisible trigger that was used for developer testing put in the ceiling of that room that just tells the boss to like disappear. There's similar triggers like that in Battle for Bikini Bottom, so that's our best guess as to why that works. But it lets us just skip that entire fight. That skip was found by complete accident by another runner named Cube, so big shoutouts to them for accidentally finding that, and then we spent like hours after that was found trying to reverse engineer how exactly they did it. But now we're going into Murmler. This level's really hard. I'm gonna let Jack take over again.
Yeah, this is essentially like very similar to Santa, where we're going to be going out of the level basically like right at the start and continuing on to clip back in at the end. So Jackson's just going to kind of go on these rocks over here in order to go onto an invisible wall. If you do it correctly, you're able to just like jump onto the invisible wall and then like continue on to the roof of the Murmler, but that going around there doesn't lose like too much time. That was super clean. One of the aspects of this level for no LSG specifically is that we really we spend a lot of time unloading and loading back in the level, which Jax was going to do right there to get back into Murmler, because normally, you know, you're walking on the roof, so you're not able to like go back in, but if you move far out enough, you're able to like kind of clip back in, and that allows us to get back to the final fight. That was super clean.
That trick's hard.
Yeah. Especially since like the camera angle can also get kind of stuck on the level geometry, so you're fighting like the camera and just like where you're landing. Like sometimes you could just like fall out of the level, but that was really clean.
All right, so this fight has kind of gone a little AWOL for me, but essentially what I'm doing is, again, I'm trying to line up multiple enemy attacks. Get me out of here. Okay, we're good. Sometimes this fight can go a little wild, but essentially what I'm trying to do is keep track of enemy spawns so I know what's coming. Bit of a rough fight, but that's okay. You have to be careful, especially with the hammer enemies, because if you're not, they can actually clip you through the floor and you have to start the whole level over, because we skipped all checkpoint triggers in this level. So, yeah, that could have been bad. And SpongeBob reloads from the cutscene because we broke the level so hard.
Yeah, that was a really clean Murmler. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, so that level's really scary. Again, that's another level you can just kind of instantly skip, because if you go backwards in the level and go behind a wall that doesn't have any collision at the top, there's just a trigger that instantly ends the level, and you can beat the level in like 10 seconds. Which, you know, it's cool, but I like the no LSG version too, because that trick is sick.
Actually, kind of fun tidbit about like doing Murmler in any percent. We like Jaxler and I actually found that you could do that individual level run spinless. So we in the GDQ practice room, we got the record down from a 9-second to an 8-second IL.
I think we both tied it.
Yeah, that was a fun discovery.
That was so funny. Something we didn't really mention is that whenever you spin as non-buff SpongeBob, it actually slows you down. So that was like the only way we could find to optimize that level from an IL stance, because doing it spinless saves like frames and movement, but it's really, really hard. So I'm gonna play it a little bit safe here and take out some of these enemies here. That's okay. They give you an extra one here. Cool. Oh, there we go. I don't know. I don't know why that didn't damage me, but we'll take those. So this is Robo Squid. Oh yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna say, like, usually the game is very, like, temperamental with taking your buff away if you hit, like, anything that, like, can damage you. Yeah, I'm not really sure why that didn't, like, take it away there.
Yeah, but this is Robo Squid. This fight can be really, really trolly. But again, this is another situation where we're trying to main buff power up for as long as possible. So this level is kind of vibe central. So I don't know if we have anything that we wanted to plug right now, but I guess now would be a really good time since the vibes are immaculate.
Of course. We actually had a couple questions in the chat. I'd love to get your perspective on. One, I mean, I feel like I know the answer to this question already, but somebody earlier had asked about how you feel, like just your general, how do you feel about this game, especially since it's on Awfully Silly? I feel like it's more on the silly side personally, but how do you feel about it?
Yeah, so my perspective is, I played it a little bit when it came out, originally in 2009, but I'm someone, I don't know, casually, some people really like it. Casually, I didn't find it as interesting, but I think this game really shines as a speedrun. Like, this is one of my favorite games to speedrun because it's just so busted and you can just do so much cool stuff with this game. It's pretty awesome. I don't know how you would feel about it, Jack, but that's kind of my...
I honestly feel like exactly the same. Like, it really has, like, a ton to offer with all the out-of-bounds shenanigans and really cool, like, movement tech. It's like one of my favorite speedruns, but I actually haven't played it casually. I picked it up because I thought it looked like a super cool run when I saw Jaxler doing it back in like 2018.
Yeah. What was the other question that came up?
Yeah. So somebody else also asked, given the all the tech that goes into this category that you've showed us so far and what we've yet to see, what would be like the goal, like the absolute GOAT final like time that you would like to get out of it?
That's really hard. So there are two people at the top of the ladder for this category, myself and another runner named SpongeBob, who is extremely talented, holds the 100% world record as well. We are a second apart from each other. I'm at a 41.55 and SpongeBob has a 41.56. And our sum of best are both 41.0, mine's 41.08 and his is a 41.03, I believe. His is slightly more optimized in like a level or two. So it's getting kind of down to the wire at this point, which is pretty wild. But honestly, like a mid 41 would be like jaw-dropping to see at this point, I would say. For this category.
Yeah, like getting a 41 at all, it still just like boggles my mind. Like that's such a wild run.
I had to grind. we like Exotic Sponge and I both had to grind for months to get these times. Like it is not easy, like at all. Which. Yeah, so I guess I've been kind of doing some like skips in the meantime. This is rock bottom. This is what we call it rock bottom, but it's called 24 hours at the Krusty Krab in game. I think most runners of this category would consider this to be the hardest level in the run. There's not any major game-breaking glitches or skips in this level in this category, but this is just a giant fundamentals test. Can you be consistent at movement? Can you be consistent at maintaining your buff power up? Can you be consistent at spin hopping, spin boosting? This is like the most fundamentals testing level of any in the entire game. And that's what makes it so hard, but also so fun once you like nail everything in a row. So you're gonna see me grab a buff power up here. And one of the scary things about this level is that there is a sort of point of no return when it comes to acquiring buff. I have the opportunity to grab a backup about halfway into the level. But once I go past that halfway point, if I lose my buff, that's it. And I'm gonna have to improvise. But ideally, if I play my cards right, I'm gonna have buff till hopefully the end of the level. And right here, I'm trying to carefully manage where I place my spin hops. Because what I'm trying to do is manipulate the movement of that sort of corkscrew enemy that pops out of the ground there. Reason being is that they are very good at sniping your buff power up away from you without you really noticing. So I do some sort of precautionary movement there and right here as well in order to manipulate the corkscrew enemy spawns so that they don't bother me. And we got through here with buff, which is really good. This will allow me to take some of these cycles a little bit faster because I can spin out of the gumballs, just kind of like that, and I can make this nice. All right, I normally don't go for this, but this is swag, so I'm going to go for it. This is probably a bad idea. Yeah, okay, dirt for it.
No.
It was worth a shot. You can use that. I shouldn't have gone for that, but I had to for the culture. There's a backup buff power up coming up, but I decided to go for that for the people. But there's a way you can actually sort of climb up some walls there in order to completely bypass this last switch. And sometimes it's actually the play in some categories to do that, especially in 100%, because there's some collectibles you have to grab there before the rising water nails you. But yeah, this is the point of no return for buff power up. If I lose a buff power up from here on out, there's no backup for it. I just have to play it and tough it out.
You got this, Jaxler?
Yeah. But we got a bit of a fight coming up here. The robots are always going to spawn in a consistent pattern if I kill them at the same order and point every time. So what I'm doing is I am sort of pre-routing my way through here, and I nail this guy while he's popping in so he doesn't have the chance to clink with my attack. Gonna go talk to this guy here, get his number. No, you want to take care of the hammer robot there first because he is by far the most dangerous. He sort of, in an attempt to make it more difficult to deal with from like a gameplay difficulty side, he moves around a lot. 3. There we go. And then yeah, so we managed to avoid him, and now we're off to the boneyard. Jack, do you want to explain why I'm terrified of this section?
Yeah, no, like, I don't know if we actually talked about it yet, but one of the things that's absent from Truth or Square that's present in Battle in Battle for Bikini Bottom in the movie game is that there's no coyote frames in Truth or Square. So whenever you go off a ledge or something like that, there's no jump leniency like there is in Battle and Movie. Like in those games, you could walk off a ledge and have like a few frames where you can still input a jump, but you don't have it here. And since all those edges are like slanted, if you like go too far to the edge, then you just like fall off and you can't really recover that. So really easy spots to lose buff, especially with all like the electrical things and like the little like fists like coming down to like hit SpongeBob. It's a really easy place to die, and that was really clean.
Yeah, and so right here, this is another section where we're supposed to soak up water to create platforms. But soaking up water in this game actually overrides your buff power up and makes you lose it. So this is actually like one of the only parts of the game where the developers really didn't anticipate anyone to have access to this power up. So this is gonna let us do some shenanigans in this next section here, but I gotta focus for something real quick called rail jump. This is a deceptively scary jump. Give me a second.
Yeah.
Yes, there we go.
There we go. That platform is just so small. It's really hard to like get on it precisely to be able to jump over to the eel, but that was very clean.
Jack, do you mind talking about the strat I'm gonna do?
Oh yeah, so there, like we were talking about with propeller jumps and fry cooking, there are a few that are outside of the main playable area that we're gonna be able to use in order to get over to the next like cannon target. So Jax was gonna jump underneath the level right here onto the propeller and then go right into the cannon. That was super clean. That's one of my favorite strats because like it just looks super cool to like go around the level and just like jump onto the propeller.
It is in theory possible to do that without buff, but it's only been done a couple of times by a human. All right, do a spin boost right there. That cannonball robot that we're using to solve this last puzzle is always active and shooting at you, even if it doesn't look like it. So I can actually avoid waiting for an extra attack cycle if I spin boost up there, which saves a couple of seconds in movement. All right, so gonna go for a bit of a scary looking jump here since I have the buff power up. So I'm gonna turn my camera, line myself up, double jump spin, and we made it. Nice. That saves a second. It's terrifying. If I were to be completely honest, I shouldn't be going for it. But you know, for the culture.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a very good rock bottom so far, so I think it's worth. But yeah, no, this is like the final fight in rock bottom. This is like one of the instances where we can get the clarinet ability, but sometimes the spinning robots can just deflect the things that spit out of the clarinet, so it can be like a bit tedious with this fight, but luckily we got buffs, so we're able to just like mow through everything that's left.
Wow, if I didn't take that death, this would actually be kind of a filthy rock bottom. That was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's gonna be 30 seconds right into my hubris, but other than that was really good. All right. And now we're going for the late game run killer in every non-any percent category, which is Karate Island. In this level, similar to like Santa and Murmulaire, the level at the end here wraps around on itself. So the beginning of the level is sort of positioned right at the end, although you would probably never really notice it if you were playing casually. But they do that in order for some like technical game development type reasons, just to make things easier for like the level designers, I would assume. But we can actually exploit that again by getting another really tricky hammer clip in order to skip directly to the end of the level and bypass pretty much a 10-minute level, at least in the old versions of the speedrun. So I'm going to go a bit quiet here, and then once I get the clip, Jack's going to explain the movement from there. Give me just a second.
Yeah, this is a very tough trick.
Need these two out of the way. I'm going to play it a little safe. I want both of those hammer robots to be there. Do I know what's coming? Nice, I got it.
Nice, that was super clean. Oh my god. Yeah, so basically, since it just wraps around to the beginning, we're able to just kind of go onto this, like, the top of this cave and just access the inside of the level, or the amount of the level from the inside that's available out of bounds. And then we can just go back in and enter Demento's dojo. That was really great.
Yeah, that skip can go very, very haywire because you're, sometimes you get one hammer robot to clip you, sometimes you get two. It can be a little variable at times, but we made our way into Demento. Which unfortunately is probably the slowest part of any non-any percent category. Okay, cool, we didn't get the cha-cha slide. So something that can happen there is what we call the cha-cha slide, where sometimes he'll get stuck on a particle from a broken crate or barrel and just kind of slide for a indeterminate period of time. And if that happens, you just eat the time loss and there's nothing you can do about it. But luckily that didn't happen. So what you're seeing me do here in this boss fight, unfortunately it's pretty slow because Demento has a lot of HP. But what I'm trying to do is manipulate the boss so that when it finishes its second attack, it's on the middle of that back wall there. And so as a result, when it goes to its spot in the middle of the arena, it takes the shortest path possible so it speeds up that part of the phase. But other than that, we have to go through another 4 hits of this bad boy before we're done with the fight, unfortunately. We would grab like a buff power up here and like backtrack for it because it would save that much time. But the problem is the devs actually put a trigger right outside the dojo to make it impossible to carry a buff power up into this arena. It will just snipe it from you. We don't really know why it's there because it's pretty impossible to like, for most casual players to get a power up over their period. So that's a thing. Somebody asked if there are safety strats that can be used to avoid the cha-cha slide. You can try to break some of the crates and barrels, but it's a little bit hard. The problem is it's a little bit hard to do that and manipulate the boss at the same time, which is why you don't see a lot of people do it. But luckily, I got off scot-free, so we're just kind of vibing here at the end. I don't know if we had, I just saw that question because it was literally the first thing in the chat, but Consumption, I don't know if you saw anything else or any other comments that you wanted to add, or...
Well, I have a question, yeah.
Sure.
And maybe we'll have an answer for it, maybe we won't, depending on how involved we are with the lore. Why is this game called Truth or Square?
Yeah, so this game is sort of a promotional type, well, not really promotional, but it's a sort of tie-in game with the Truth or Square TV special, where it's sort of like, I think it was the 15th anniversary of the show, where SpongeBob was going down memory lane, and sort of the plot of this game is SpongeBob is going through all of his past adventures and memories because he misplaced the Krabby Patty formula, and he's trying to remember where he left it. And so by the end of this level, he's basically kind of working with Plankton to find it because SpongeBob hasn't learned his lesson about how Plankton's a bad dude. So we end up like remembering where it is, and then Plankton steals it, makes a giant mech, and then we have to go destroy the mech, and that's the plot of the game.
Yeah, the plot is definitely a bit nonsensical, but it is a really great way to kind of like allow us to, you know, go to all these different areas in the like SpongeBob universe.
Yeah.
Whether it be like Karate Island or Jellyfish Thing.
Just shows you how big SpongeBob was at that time that a TV special gets its own video game.
Yeah.
Kind of wild.
Yeah, no, that's the final platforming level before the final boss fight. This run's looking really solid so far.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what the final time is. Yeah, no, we're going into the final boss. Like Jack said, this is Roboplankton. This is one of those levels that it's kind of interesting because it's broken up into 2 halves, where you have it's a 3-phase fight, and you have these platforming segments, which are on these rooftops, which are kind of auto-scrollery in nature, but with some areas you can speed up. And you have these inner core phases, which are really fun movement sections. But this is like a notorious run killer, especially for people who are getting into the game. Not because it's necessarily difficult, but because people write it off because they don't think they need to practice a boss fight. But there's actually a lot of like little things you can do throughout this fight in order to shave down your time and optimize it. Especially once we get the buff power up, and being able to maintain the buff power up till the end of the fight is super critical because it just makes things way nicer. So what I'm gonna do right here, he's gonna summon in some robots. I can't skip any of these sections because otherwise he would just kind of be stuck in soft lock. So what I'm gonna do instead is sort of back myself up here, 1, 2, set up for a double, boom, and somehow we got the spinner robot to spawn. Sometimes if you delay your attacks, you can get a different type of robot to spawn, and the spinner robots, they actually have less health than the hammer robots. So I actually managed to save like a fraction of a second there, which is kind of nice. Yeah, so these like rooftop sections, like I said, other than the robots that spawn in, you can't really do anything to speed them up, so we kind of just goof around here a little bit until we get into the core sections, which are really the fun part about running this level IMO. Yeah, so bait out the attack, and we're going into the inside of the core. So each core phase gives you a buff power-up, but ideally you don't want to have to grab a backup, because if you do, you have to go pretty out of your way and take a different route through all these generators. In each of these phases, you have to hit 3 generators and destroy them in order to destroy this force field, and then we can do damage to the core of the robot. I don't know why it's a mechanical heart, but, you know, is what it is.
Like there's a lot of parts that could be faulty in this robot.
And if you manipulate the spinner robots as well, they can actually help you damage the core of the heart as well, which is a really funny little interaction. But yeah, at this point, I'm really trying as hard as possible not to lose my buff here. So in some places, I'm actually waiting out some cycles, even though you would think it'd be faster. But because we're waiting on a set timer for RoboPlankton to get here anyway, it just ends up being safer. And you'll see why. The double damage on these robots with the spinning attack is just absolutely brutal. It just completely obliterates them. And let's just go pretty much immediately to the next section. And then you're gonna see me wait here just a tad. So something that can be really annoying, especially once you start getting more optimized RoboPlankton fights, is that some of the steam vents don't render right away, but their hitboxes are still active. So because it's sort of an auto-scroller and you usually get there at the same time every time, you can actually wait a predetermined amount of time to make sure that you never get hit by it. And then right here, I'm gonna wait in the middle this time. And then we managed to save buff going into the next phase. So I actually get to break the bottom generator instead of the top right generator at first this time, which saves a couple of seconds in routing and movement. So 1, 2, 3. And then spin hops for glory. Yeah. But yeah, sort of to the end of the run, this is all pretty straightforward stuff. Just kind of a final litmus test of, can you do the movement? Can you keep it together to the end of the run? But I just want to take a quick moment to sort of like show this game as a speedrun for a bit. I know a lot of the stuff that I'm doing in this category is pretty wild and pretty snazzy. But I feel like this game has so much to offer in terms of its skill curve. I think it has like one of the best skill curves in terms of speed games. Because when you're getting into it, it's very easy to pick up some of the really game-breaking strats are not all that hard, and you still feel it still feels satisfying because it feels like you're skipping massive chunks of the game and doing these really fun strats. But with it being easy to get into, there's also a lot of room for improvement and ways that you can clean up your movement. So for example, like, you know, getting better at spin hopping, getting better at maintaining your buff power up throughout the levels. There's a lot of meat on the bone for a game that's relatively accessible and easy to get into. It's also available on Wii and 360. Most runners play on 360, such as myself, for the faster loading times. But it's really easy to get your hand on a copy of this game, and it's a really fun run. The any percent world record is sitting at a solid 22 minutes and change by the one and only Jackalaka, who's been helping me commentate the whole time. But yeah, no, it's been a really interesting time for this game. We've been really pushing this game for like the last 5 years, and we're at a point now where every main world record is held by a different runner, which is really, really cool. that we've been having so many people playing and finding and discovering things. So I'll give you all some information in a second to check out if you're interested, but time is coming up soon. We're getting ready for the final hit on the boss. Time will end on the final puff of smoke that comes out when I deal the final blow to the core of the boss. So get ready on time. And time.
Nice.
Wow, I cut the 44. Okay.
that was such a great run.
Yeah.
Well done, Jax.
Yeah, that's really hype. Forgot about the rumble. I always get yelled at for that. But yeah, that was Truth or Square, no LSG, everyone. That was a 43-55 by my count, by my splits. Pretty good, especially for throwing a 30-second death in there in rock bottom, but we won't talk about that. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I was kind of mentioning it at the end there, but the community for this game rules. There's a lot of really nice people in the scene. Pretty much everyone is really chill and would love to help you learn the run. So if you're interested in checking out the run and maybe learning more, especially the any percent run, I would highly recommend going to the speedrun.com leaderboards for this game. If you go to speedrun.com/SBTOS, you'll find our current leaderboard so you can get an idea of what an any percent run looks like, or you could just check out the GDQ VOD, but that's another good place to look too. We also have a link to a full video tutorial for the any percent run, which goes over more beginner-friendly strats, so it's easier to get into. Like I said, it's pretty easy to pick up, but there's a lot of ways that you can add new strats over time. So if you're looking for something new to sink your teeth into and you have no idea where to start, give this game a try. It's really fun. We also have a community Discord for this game, where if you go to that same leaderboard page, speedrun.com/SBTOS, we have a community Discord where we'd be more than happy to chat with you and help you figure out stuff if you're having trouble. Yeah,
we love helping new runners and stuff if you are interested, and like it's just so awesome to see how much the game has grown, like just as far as like all the tricks that we found, 'cause this game looks completely different from when I started back in 2018.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 years ago we were freaking out about sub 30 minutes, and now the any percent world record is 8 minutes lower than that, which is just bonkers for such for a game that was already so optimized. It's just pretty incredible.
Yeah, and I feel like adding in all these different categories like no level skip glitch has given us like so many different like opportunities to try out like different tricks and just like different ways of playing. It's just I just love where the game is right now.
And there's really something for everyone. It feels like every category feels completely different from like a speedrunning standpoint. So there's a lot to sink into this game. We highly recommend you check it out. Just a couple more quick shoutouts. Shoutouts to Jack for nailing it on the commentary. You're sick.
Yo, shoutouts to Jaxler's back for nailing the run.
Thank you. If you want to check out more of what Jack does, he streams a lot of this game and Battle for Bikini Bottom. He's also a really talented runner of that. You can find him at twitch.tv/JackAlaka. Just take that name you see under commentary on the screen, plug that into twitch.tv/ and you should be able to find him. If you're interested in what I do, I run this game and a whole bunch of other random nonsense that probably most of it could find a slot on the show in some way, because I run random nonsense garbage. If you're interested in that kind of stuff at all, or more of this game, my Twitch is Jaxler1, and you can find the occasional oven retweet at JaxlerSR on Twitter. But yeah, I'd just like to extend a huge thank you to Concession for having me not once but twice. I'm extremely grateful.
Yeah, I mean, you said it yourself. I've seen you run many a game, and a lot of them belong on this show. So I'm sure you're here twice, and I'm sure it will not be the last time. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I'm very grateful. And shout outs to GDQ Tech as always. They are the unsung heroes of this whole operation. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, couldn't agree more with that. Well, everybody, we got one more silly show game here for you, but we're going to take a little break here. Go ahead, stretch. Go ahead and get your buff power-ups on at home. We will be back in a few minutes with our Silly Shows finale. Okay, and welcome back to Awfully Silly, the Silly Shows episode. We've had quite a number of Silly Show games on here so far, and we have a doozy of a finale for you tonight. But first, just want a couple shout-out things here. Stay tuned right after this for That's Never Happened Before, which, if you're unfamiliar, is a show where guests come on and explain how glitches work in their speedruns. And if you're interested in some more hotfix content as well, tomorrow, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, is a very special episode of The First Step, which is going to be with our friends at the Monterey Bay Aquarium. So that's going to be a wonderful presentation. I'm very much looking forward to it. If you want to find out some more information about what's going to go on for that, you can find the announcement on our Twitter, which is twitter.com/gamesdonequick. But without further ado, I think it's about time we get into our finale here, which is none other than Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue, and it's going to be run by Protosonic. Protosonic, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, Conception. Thank you very much. And yeah, so we are playing Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue. If you remember, when you're younger, yeah, watch some Fox Kids, got your cereal for your Saturday morning cartoons, and one of these was Power Rangers. Definitely was my favorite, next to a couple other shows like Ninja Turtles, Next Mutation, VR Trooper, and Beetleborgs. But we're talking about Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue. And I definitely think we're ready to play this game. This game came out in 2000, and yes, I'll say this, there is a multitude of games under the Lightspeed Rescue moniker. There is a Game Boy Color game. There is a Nintendo 64 game, as well as a PlayStation 1 game that we're playing tonight. I would definitely say, don't play the N64 variation of this. It's interesting. There's literally a bunch of YouTube videos that talk about that one in particular, but nobody talks about this one. And we're actually going to be playing the any percent run of this game. And so with any percent, it allows us to not only change our difficulty to easy, which is already there, which I'm really happy about that, but it also allows us to use one specific cheat code. And I'm quite shocked to say that we're allowed to use cheat codes in this. Yes, we are, but only one. And that code will be ultimate. You're probably wondering, well, what does the ultimate code give? And the ultimate code actually gives us the ultimate ranger, the best ranger of Lightspeed Rescue, and in my opinion, one of the best rangers in Power Rangers history, which is the Titanium Ranger. And I know Line is also in the chat, Galaxy Heart. We both run the game. We're the two active players within the Power Rangers scene. And definitely will say that, Ryan Mitchell, the Titanium Ranger, is a very unique ranger and one of the best rangers to use. I will say right now, with the Titanium Ranger, thinking game-wise, he has the best strength, has the best energy, and he's slightly slower than Carter, our Red Ranger. So actually a little bit faster than Carter. So that's actually pretty good, which actually makes him the best ranger to use. And since we're on easy mode, we're only going through 6 out of the 7 stages. There is a 7th stage. That's where we would save the Titanium Ranger, but that's only in normal and hard difficulty. Outside of the game, Titanium Ranger is actually the first American-made Power Ranger within the Power Ranger series, and definitely pays homage not only to his Super Sentai counterpart Go-Go 5, but also pays homage to Turbo Ranger as well. And no, not Power Rangers Turbo, the Turbo Ranger Super Sentai, with the helmet representing Go-Go 5 with the V, and the Turbo Ranger suit is primarily his suit in general. So there's a lot of information. There's a lot of stuff we're going to go through with this game today, and might throw out a little bit of nuggets here and there about Power Ranger lore and stuff like that. But without further ado, let's get started. And Galaxy Heart is also in the chat, so if you have questions, she'll gladly be able to answer it. So I'm going to start in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Thank you, thank you. And so we're on to our very first stage. We can also skip cutscenes. Is Operation Lightspeed. So you're probably wondering, well, as a Lightspeed Ranger, what do we do? Well, Captain Mitchell and Miss Fairweather said it very quickly. Well, gotta save the hostages, save the life, save the world. Because in Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue, we are actually fighting demons of Queen Banshira, and she basically is here to take over the world, whether it's with her minions, Vipra, Lokai, Jinxer, or Diabolico, but she also uses her son, Olympius, throughout this process. And it's up to our Lightspeed Rescue Rangers to, as I said earlier, save the life, save the world. And we have our fight with our books of the season, the Batlins. Definitely in this game, we don't need to fight all of them. and we're just gonna bypass some of them, and other ones we do have to fight. And so we saved 2 hostages already. I'm sorry, I mean 3 hostages, and we have a 4th hostage right here. And so remember, don't panic. You're gonna be hearing that a lot. So remember, don't panic. And of course, we're gonna get ready for our first mini boss, Shakatron. And with bosses is actually rather interesting because we can get behind them. I'm gonna try to get behind this one. I need to get this monster out the way. Nope. And sometimes they can roll. He's being aggressive. He's being aggressive today. And he died, and we're gonna run away. Get out of there as fast as we possibly can. And we can actually stun lock a lot of the bosses and the mini bosses as well. That will help us with, not having to do combos on them and to avoid using our energy meter.
All right.
Oh, he didn't panic, so he just said, all right. But just remember, don't panic.
Don't panic.
And we actually are gonna grab this lightning bolt, Power Ranger lightning bolt symbol, which gives us invincibility. It can vary, I believe, depending on the energy. Haven't been able to figure that one out yet. But we've gathered some energy, we gathered some health, and it's time to fight Vipra. And I kind of know that a lot of people in the Power Ranger community don't like the character Vipra, and I think it's because of the actress. This was her first time acting within just in general. But, sometimes it's like that. And there was our first stun lock. If I can get a Batlin to knock me down, I'm gonna use my energy meter to use this ground pound. Oh, she ran away. There we go. And the coin's gonna be right in the middle. And there we go. And we've already got our very first gem, which will be useful when we are playing in the last level. But in this one, we gather the gems and we just kind of go on our merry way.
We have completed our Ranger.
We've got to do something.
And so our next level is Lightspeed Teamwork. So with the power of teamwork, AKA the Green Ranger drops us off and we do the rest of the work. We gotta save not only the hostages, but we also gotta make sure that the dam doesn't explode from spikes. Does that really happen? Nah, doesn't happen. But for other people, what was your favorite Power Ranger season out of all curiosity? It can be, maybe you're interested in the Disney era, or potentially you're like, well, I like the Saban era, or Samurai. Maybe you like Megaforce, and congratulations if you do.
I'm an OG fan myself. That's what I grew up on. I'm a little older, so I had that when I was a kid. I also I know it's bad. I know it's bad, but I had an affinity for Turbo as well.
Let's do it.
I mean, Turbo was bad for specific reasons. I mean, if we look at it, and bye to the boss. I had to say that first. But I can understand why people didn't like Turbo. You're taking Car Ranger, which was the Super Sentai counterpart, which was a comedy Sentai for the most part, and making it as serious as it possibly could be, with Divatox, capturing Zordon at some point, and going through that whole process. But hey, we got the Phantom Ranger, which is really cool. Does anybody in the chat say anything in particular, like their favorite season?
We got some people. So Railkun, our tech person, also shouting out the OG. We can relate to that. We got some Lightspeed and Time Force love, Zeo love, Dino Thunder love, Lost Galaxy. Okay, interesting. Wild and Mystic Forces as well. Man, we got it all covered pretty much.
There you go. Well, I'm happy nobody said Operation Overdrive. I mean, it had its own faults, and it was an interesting season. I'd rather not talk about it. But hey, we gotta click these switches, save some hostages, and jump over some Batlins. Like, we gotta fight them? Nah, we don't gotta fight them. And really, and if you saw earlier, we did kick Smogger off the bridge, basically. And you can actually do that. Like, if you kick them off the bridge, they can't teleport back, basically. It counts as an instant death for them, which is actually really good. Because in the next game that comes out, Power Rangers Time Force, they actually fixed that, where is like, hey, kick them off, they're back. And if you pay attention closely, he doesn't say Loki, he says Loki.
Ranger, get Loki.
Loki.
And I'm hoping I can kick him off, but which I don't think I can. He's being a little mean today. There we go. And time to say bye to the Batlin. Disappeared. Which that's fine. That's okay. Oh, we got somebody that says Super Mega Force. Congratulations. A very interesting season, I will say, because, well, there was not a lot. Like, they really phoned in some stuff, in my opinion. But hey, it's our first Megazord battle with the Super Trained Megazord. And what we have to do here is just stun lock the boss. And so I'm not going to do too many kicks. I'm just going to do some light punches. So punch and a punch and a punch. I just don't want him to keep falling over. And sometimes they can get a little bit more aggressive. There we go.
Mission accomplished.
And sometimes I would like to be able to skip these cutscenes, but sadly you can't. Especially when they're posing and doing their thing. And remember, we just used that Super Train Megazord. Rare Rescue basically says, hey, guess what? They just took the Super Train Megazord. They don't got tickets. Time to kick them out. And it's honestly, the song is good real here. Is good on this part. And so the physics all applies to it. My goal right now is to kick off Jinxer as fast as I possibly can, which is actually right there. Uh-oh, and there we go. And so there's actually some situations in this stage in particular where you can actually soft lock when you're jumping across from one train car to the next. And that's the first time I've had it happen with train number 5. I prefer for it not to happen on train 5. Oh. I'm gonna just try my best to stun lock him, and I'm dead. Oof. And this is what you don't really want to happen, where he tries to fight back.
Awesome.
Uh-oh, come on. There we go. It didn't recognize saying, hey, you gotta jump across. But honestly, the song is really good. And also, what's people's favorite Megazords, if you remember any of them? In fact, Conception, what's your favorite Megazord? I mean, if we're going with Mighty Morphin.
Yeah, because you got a couple iterations there, right? Because we got the original, and then they did like the Ninja Zord, right? Is that what the name of it was?
We've got to do something.
They had the Dino Megazord, Thunder Megazord, Ninja Megazord, Shogun Megazord, and the White Tiger Zord, Dragon Zord, and Dragon Zord battle mode, and also Titanus. But there's a lot in there. I mean, I was a huge Green Ranger fan, like I'm sure a lot of people were at my age. So I'll probably go with that. Dragon Zord is the Green Ranger's one, right? I'm so behind on the lore. I think that's right, but I don't know. Yeah. Ultra Zord all the way. All right. Yes. I mean, the Ultra Zord was interesting. It's like and I love how if you pay attention to when they had the Ninja Megazords and they did the Ultra Zord with Titanus, it was actually kind of interesting when they would, basically, it was the toy and they really tried their best to make it look like it wasn't. And he fell off too. That can happen. That can happen.
Some love for the Dragon Zord as well. Shuttle Zord is mentioned here.
Oh, the Shuttle Zord. Oh, yeah, I think that was from In Space, if I remember correctly.
Ranger, listen up. Find and rescue.
And there we go. So, how many of you liked the game The Floor is Lava when you were younger? Well, this stage is literally that. The floor is lava.
Thank you.
And so we gotta save the hostages, not panicking. Especially when you have meteorites falling from the sky, and this is almost like Sonic 06, where meteorites kind of start to home in on you. So we're gonna just follow this, like there's this particular path you wanna go in order to really optimize the run and to get all the hostages.
Don't panic. Thank you.
And of course, don't panic.
Don't panic.
So we're gonna go across, we're gonna grab that little girl, and then we are going to get across here. I'm also gonna grab that extra life that's up here at the tippy top,
Don't panic.
just so I can not worry about a game over potentially.
Awesome.
And this is actually where the second part where it could have potentially soft locked at. Where basically sometimes you can get stuck on that box and you would jump infinitely.
Destroy the evil fire orb.
And it's time to fight our next mini boss, Fire Orb. But hey, we're gonna just use this invincibility to unlock them. And there we go. And there we go. Very concerning. Oh, that one almost hit me. That one almost hit me. And we're gonna avoid that battling right there, and it's time to fight our second mini.
Yep, absolutely. Sorry about that, folks. We just had a little bit of frame droppage there. No panic. Remember what Protosonic said. Don't panic. Don't panic. We're getting that taken care of. Just one moment here while we get you set back up.
Yeah, it's green, so I'm good now. Back on the stream. So 3, 2, 1, go.
And we're back.
So I hope nobody panicked right there because we got to fight Diabolico, which, you know, he could be kind of scary, but hey, we just got to kick him off the stage. A lot of U-turns, and he wants to be mean, and there we go.
Moves.
Which that's A-okay. We're not going to panic. Oh, man. So back to the Super Train Megazord. And of course, in this game, we actually have 2 Megazords we could use. The Super Train Megazord and the Omega Megazord. Which that's my favorite Zord because it just sounds cool. And we're going to just slightly do some punches. And we're going to go from there. I need him to stop blocking. And there we go.
Mission accomplished.
And we can't skip that cutscene, which that's fine. Which that's fine. But hey, with all the stuff that happened, you know, a little issue with the stream and that kind of stuff, always remember safety first.
These fuels.
And so we got to get these fuel rods, and also not only get fuel rods, we got to save some hostages as well. And really, this stage is kind of self-explanatory. We're not going to fight every battling that's fighting or that's going to come in our way. We're going to try to avoid most of them. And there's only certain ones that we need to fight. And for the most part, that's really how this goes. And there's also a hostage here. If people don't, like, it's really, sometimes that one can kind of disappear where people don't see that one. And you kind of notice I'm only kicking the Batlins out the way just so that they don't, you know, get aggressive with their stun lock, because they can stun lock you as they can, as you can stun lock them. So we got the next Fuel Rod, and we're gonna get ready to go into our next, mini boss right now, which is Shrikenin, another lightning-based monster of the week. And he's going in the wrong direction. So I might have to just stun lock him. There we go. Now let's get out of there.
Wow.
I'll say this. Currently, right now, we have two, like myself and Galaxy Heart, aka Line. We are the two active players within this community. So we would definitely like to see more people play this game. Once again, I will say that it's, for me personally, it's a fun game. Just because I grew up on Lightspeed. It's actually my favorite season. And I will say, compared to the other ways you can play this or play the other games within the Lightspeed Rescue moniker, this is honestly the best one to play. And I know Line would say the exact same thing with that. And we're gonna jump across. Oh, I never even talked about the gems. So the gems actually give us different energy for our energy meter, which is definitely useful in some stages, not every stage. And yes, the Batlins can actually chase after you and also do flying roundhouse kicks if they want to do that. We're gonna get this one out the way, and that one tried to actually do like a axe kick for some reason. But I'll talk about the energy meter in a second. We gotta fight Olympius. We come to fight Olympius' son. Definitely, he's the catch these hands. And we're gonna stun lock, and stun lock, and stun lock, and stun lock.
Mission accomplished.
And that's actually really good card placement there. And I accidentally botched that one. Botched it for a second, which, no problem, no problem. One of the questions is, can you unlock the Titanium Ranger when you beat the game or with password only? You can actually get the Titanium Ranger while you're playing normal or hard mode of this game, because there is a 7th level. Now the 7th level actually is almost like a boss rush. You fight Queen Banshira and you go about, you know, you can save the Titanium Ranger because he's in like the bottom corridor of the area, like basically in the demon world. So speaking of the energy meter, never mind. We'll talk about the energy meter in a second. Yeah, let him up, let him up. Like, I ain't letting him up. He's not getting a chance to fight back on that one. All right, to the last level we go of easy mode, where Queen Banshira is like, I'm tired of losing. You beat my son. You beat most of my minions. You kicked one of them, literally ran off the train. So I'm gonna take the fight to you guys. So we're in the aquatic base right now, or the aqua base, I should say. We're in the aqua base right now, and this is the basically home base of the Lightspeed Rescue Rangers. And we gotta save not only Miss Fairweather, but also Captain Mitchell and a special cameo guest, I would like to say, from QQ Sentai Go-Go 5, the Super Sentai counterpart to Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue.
Take me to security's main terminal.
And you'll see him in a very short moment. And we're gonna hopefully bypass this Batlin, which we didn't. Sometimes they'll slide out the way for you, which would be really nice. Do not go for that purple gem. It's a trap. Like, you will literally be locked in that area where you have to fight multiple Batlins. And here's our special guest, Professor Tatsumi, the mentor of Go-Go 5. And I really do appreciate how they put his model in there and really just helps make everything connect. So we just helped Miss Fairweather out. We're gonna click this. We're gonna click that button right there. Let's also kick this Batlin into the fire. Oh look, fire bad. There we go. And the other one should have popped up. He's right there. Hey, buddy, how you doing? And so speaking of the energy meter now that I could talk about, the energy meter basically is powered by these gems. The purple one gives you max energy, which can be used for your special moves. Now, I know that, if I remember correctly, green and titanium have a ground pound, which is actually very essential for this speed run. Red and blue, I believe, have a hyper beam. I would say like a beam that pops out of their wrist. And I think, if I remember correctly, yellow and pink have a like spinning kick for some reason, which I find interesting. Oh, Ebonimus went the roll. But hey, we're gonna stun lock you. I accidentally let him fight back. Oh look, it's Professor Tatsumi again. Have to save him. But just remember, don't panic. Another fun fact I will say about this game, it just popped in my head. Another fun fact about this game is like when I know I was playing this for ESA, as well as for a couple other, like for another show, Never Before Seen with Amber Cyprin, and definitely check out their show when it comes back in the near future. Definitely talked about one thing in particular, how there is over 100 prototypes of this game in particular, and it's actually very interesting, mainly because some of the prototypes actually had an 8th character in there known as the Demon Hunter, which in the Super Sentai counterpart Go-Go 5, there was no 6th Ranger, and so during one of the movies, they actually had basically like I would call it an auxiliary ranger, where basically he was known as, I think, Demon Beast Hunter Zeke. And so he didn't last that long. He died in that movie. But it's very interesting how they wanted to pay homage so much to the Super Sentai counterpart, which I gladly respect them for. And it's time for our final boss, which is Murmitron. And so we're gonna go into some focus time right now. Hopefully we can get the stun lock. Okay, so I'm gonna use my ground pound special ability. Murmitron's gone, and time is actually coming up once we cross the barrier, which is right now.
Hey, GG.
GG. I know my time says 22:19. What is the official time?
Let's see. We got a 22:22 on our end here.
You know what? That's totally fine. I will take that.
Yeah, it might be a little variance there between your splits and ours, but you know, you got your splits up. That's probably the way to go.
Yeah. Well, I will say this: it's the end of the level, but it's also game over because, well, there is no other stage to go to on easy mode, so it is game over. Queen Banshiro technically wins because you don't defeat her just yet. So yeah, sadly, no Omega Megazord. And so I'm going to name this Silly because this was an awfully silly game to play. I'm here with my puns all day, people.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I was going to say, because I usually ask on runners on my show, would you consider this game awfully or silly or both? And I'm going to take a wild guess based off of your passion for the season and stuff like that. You're going to go silly and not awful here, I bet.
I'm definitely going to go silly on this one. With Power Rangers Time Force, I'm going to say awful. But that's for another time in the future. And I will say this. I technically have the world record for this game right now. 20:56 is the brand new time. I don't know if it's been approved on SRC yet, but we'll see what happens. If not, right now it's also a 21:08, which I've done that as well. I just want to thank you, Conception, for having me on the show today. Thank you, Line, as well, for being in the chat, answering questions and all that stuff. And yeah, sadly, no Omega Megazord because we're not playing 2 players. One day, 2 players, speed run, Omega Megazord. Oh, it's gonna be a fun thing. It's gonna be like Jujutsu Kaisen, where you just constantly beat up on the same person. Boogie woogie. I know you can find me on Twitter at proto_sonic720, and you can find Line on Twitter as well at line the order. I also run a podcast for Tokusatsu, so whether it's Metal Hero, Ultraman, Power Rangers, Kamen Rider, or anything in between, even Armor Hero, that other Toku podcast where myself and my co-host Crownless King, we talk about the latest stuff in Toku, and we're going to start reviewing a show as well. And we also have some really lovely special guests on, like Mostly Speaking Sentai. And so you can follow us on that Twitter at that Toku, and also you can find that podcast on most of your podcast and distributors like Google Podcasts, Spotify, all that nice, lovely stuff. So there we go. And I like the one person that said the Omega Megazord was in repair. So, so once again, thank you, Conception, for having me on today.
Yeah, of course. It was my pleasure for sure to have you. Thank you so much, Proto, for that excellent run. And thank you to everyone who ran on Awfully Silly, the Silly Shows episode today. Just as a reminder, you can catch Awfully Silly as a part of the Team Velocity schedule here on the GDQ Hotfix, which is going to be for us every other Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So we're looking at March 7th as our next episode date. Feel free to check us out then. And if you enjoy the show, or me personally, my name is Conception, as you have heard throughout the night. You can find me at twitch.tv/Conception, Twitter, Conception SR, YouTube, Conception SR, all that good stuff. But focus on these runners who just did an excellent job today. And everyone, stay tuned because we're going to go on a little break here, but we will be back in a few minutes here with That's Never Happened Before, which is going to be featuring, I believe, it's Dead Space 2. So that's going to be an excellent showcase. You're not going to want to miss it. So stay tuned. But we will see you in a couple weeks.